Welcome everyone, I'm Spiro. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you are all enjoying your government-mandated lockdowns as millions and millions of people around the world are out of work and billions of people are on lockdown as these so-called experts like Bill Gates and his co-conspirator, Dr. Tony Fauci, say things will never be the same. Now, every day we are reaching new profound levels of absurdity as we continue full steam ahead into this new normal of COVID-1984. Now, I don't know how much more of this people are going to be able to take, as some states here in the U.S. are signaling that they will soon begin to ease restrictions, while other states like Oregon, they're extending them. The Oregon State Governor, Kate Brown, is actually extending the lockdown for another 2 months, 60 more days of this garbage, which is scheduled to be lifted at this point on July 6th, 2 days after the 4th of July, when we are supposed to celebrate our freedoms. No freedom dogs for you. From there, we're going to go to Dallas, Texas, a place that some would argue is the heart and soul of the United States. After all, it doesn't get any more American than Texas, right? Well, the authorities in Texas have arrested a small business owner and have thrown her in jail for 7 days for refusing to close her salon despite a court order signed by a judge. And if that's not enough, they also have fined the business owner, Shelly Luther, $7,000 on top of the jail time. This is happening at the same time authorities are releasing actual criminals from jail across the country. Here's an example. Just last week, residents in Orange County were issued a warning by their district attorney, Todd Spitzer, letting them know that 7 registered sex offenders who he had said were, quote, high risk, were recently released from custody. 5 of the 7 had convictions for tampering with their ankle monitors. All 7 of these men had violent criminal records, and 5 of the 7 had been arrested for criminal sex acts against children. These convicted violent, child-abusing sex offenders were released back into society under the justification of this so-called emergency. Some of these criminals only spent days in jail before being released. One of the high-risk sex offenders that was released just so happened to get rearrested shortly after his release. And no, it wasn't for trying to reopen a small business. It was for another sex crime. This man's prior criminal history includes child molestation, indecent exposure, assault, battery, criminal threats, and inflicting injury to an adult, according to police, and has had 5 parole violations since 2017. If this does not make your blood boil, you need to check your pulse at this point. In this country, the so-called land of the free and home of the brave, the government is jailing women and normal people, small business owners who are the backbone of this country for keeping their businesses open, defying the authoritarian lockdowns based on China's model, and releasing the worst filth on the planet back into society, putting you and your families at risk, putting your children at risk, not from a virus, but from violent child molesting criminals. Are you okay with this?
Judge Eric Moya did say he would consider not giving her jail time if she agreed to close the salon and to admit wrongdoing. Listen to a portion of his request and her response to it.
That your actions were selfish, putting your own interests ahead of those of the community in which you live. That they disrespected the executive orders of the state, the orders of the county, and this city.
I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding my kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salon.
This brings us to our next story by the Associated Press, titled, Over 70% of tested inmates in federal prison have COVID-19. Now, this story tells me 2 things. First off, the lockdowns are bullshit. They claim that this virus is spreading in prisons while we're all sitting at home in our own prisons on lockdowns because the lockdowns are needed to flatten the curve, they say. The ultimate form of lockdown is being in federal prison. You cannot be any more locked down than if you are in federal prison. It's time to end the lockdowns right now. And I've already reported how a top World Health Organization official, Michael J. Ryan, clearly stated that they believe it's time to enter people's homes and remove people who they deem are infected. I mean, you see where this is going. I'm going to have another report diving deeper into this here in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Now, if these states don't start to open up right now, I think it's time to hold these officials accountable, especially because the admittedly inflated numbers do not justify these lockdowns. How many doctors have come out on record and stated this? Doctors who are not funded by Bill Gates, but the doctors who are funded by Bill Gates, like Dr. Deborah Birx, whose medical license is not currently active, according to reports at this moment, openly stated that these numbers are being inflated. Regardless of your prior health conditions, if you die and they test you and they say that you have COVID, they're putting you down as a COVID-19 death. Okay. Now, the other thing that this tells me is that the tests are also bullshit. Okay. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a doctor on in the coming days to provide us his explanation of the tests and much, much more. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, real quick, I just want to let you know that last night, YouTube removed one of my previous reports. It was a report from about 3 months ago that I believe is more relevant now than ever. The title of this report was New Proposed Law to Jail Anti-Vaxxers and the CDC Fear-Based Talking Points to Media Revealed. Now, in this report, I'm just going to give you a brief kind of a rundown, and I'm going to provide a link to it because this report is still available on BitChute, which I'm going to be spending more and more time over at BitChute. All of my reports are there right now. I'm going to start to kind of move away from YouTube because I'm just sick of it. They're taking everyone down. They're taking everything down. I'm not going to be here for much longer. If you like my reports, the content I'm putting out, thank you so much for the support. But look more and more to see my reports on BitChute because who knows how long this channel is going to be around. They just took a video down right now, a very important video, which in this report I show the CDC documents where they are basically laying out a step-by-step formula, a provision of how to foster demand for vaccines, specifically the flu shot, where they state that they need and want the media and the government officials to basically scare the public into going to get the vaccine shots, the flu shots, okay? This was just for the regular flu season. The CDC is saying how to foster demand. Well, you get government officials and the media to go out there and scare the hell out of people, basically. I show the document. They have since removed the document from there. I know other people have they've downloaded it. They have it. It's available out there. But I show the screenshots. It's legit. It's there. You can see the report for yourself. The other part of this report talks about how there's a current UK law where they're trying to remove a loophole, as they call it, to be able to jail what they call as anti-vaxxers. Okay, there's a current loophole right now where if someone spreads what they deem misinformation, and by who we mean the World Health Organization, because they are the arbiters of truth at this point, if you spread misinformation online as it stands right now in UK, they cannot hold you criminally liable. If you believe that the information you're sharing is accurate. Well, they're trying to remove that provision to say, regardless of whether or not you believe this information is true, if you share what they deem to be misinformation regarding vaccines, and if you're an anti-vaxxer, they want to throw you in jail. Okay, so that's the gist of this report. I have all the documentation. I show it there. I share it. Get over to BitChute, subscribe there. That's going to be the future. Okay, they just removed David Icke's entire channel, almost 1 million followers there, subscribers on YouTube. Well, guess what? He's got a channel on BitChute right now. You can go see all of his reports right there on BitChute. They took down Alex Jones. They've taken down so many others. I had a channel. They removed the entire channel, hundreds and hundreds of videos before this channel. All gone. I didn't. I did not back them up, and I did not have them on BitChute. All those videos are gone forever. But you know what? Every video on this channel right now is available at bitchute.com under my channel. Just search my name and BitChute, BITCHUTE. I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. And if you've had enough of what we are seeing right now, as this government and others are jailing otherwise law-abiding citizens who are their only crime is violating these lockdown mandates, which are not justified in many people's eyes. Like Oregon, for example, The other day when I looked, they're extending their lockdown for 60 days. When I looked, their death toll was like less than 200. It was like 192. And this was last week. 192 deaths. They have millions of people that live in that state. That is a very, very tiny percentage of the population, and they're inflating the numbers on top of this. So I think we've had enough. I think it's time to open it up. Now, I know we keep hearing about the second wave, and if we open it up too soon, the second wave. Well, yes, of course, this global pandemic does provide them the opportunity to carry out whatever kind of nefarious operations they'd like, only then to say, see, we told you so, we opened up too soon, and guess what? The second wave came. Now, this second wave could coincide with a few other things, possibly the timing of when this new vaccine rolls out. Is that a possibility? I'm just thinking out loud here, but if the second wave coincides with the release of the vaccine and people start getting sick from the vaccine, guess what they're going to blame it on? They're going to blame it on the virus. They're going to blame it on the pandemic. We're already seeing reports of cyber attacks from China, Russia, and Iran trying to steal information from UK and US labs here in the US, trying to steal this information, this research on the COVID-19 vaccine. I don't believe it until it's been officially denied at this point. We're going to keep our eyes on all of this. There's a lot of information taking place, a lot of things going down. So, they could they possibly release an actual targeted bioweapon attack under the guise of this pandemic and blame it on the virus? Of course, anything's possible, and I wouldn't put anything past these people at this point. Okay, so again, the time is now to act. Our liberties are going away every day. More and more, they're throwing innocent people in jail while releasing violent sex offenders from jail. I'll leave links below. Stay tuned for more. I'm Spiro. Thanks for watching.